What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So the console dialogue has kind of spilled itself over to PC again, and this isn't a hardware comparison. I'm going to take time now to keep making these correction videos to basically reduce the misinformation that is out there and is coming from a lot of these console fan warriors. They really make, console aficionados look bad, because a lot of people just enjoy playing on their consoles and have no problem with gaming. But then you have folk like this who come in to try to maybe farm engagement or sow some kind of discord or outrightly just say something that just makes no sense, because maybe somehow they want to feel like they have a superior machine of some kind. I don't know what it is. Now, the reason I make these videos is because I'm a scientist. I like data. I'm a trained scientist in college, and so I enjoy looking at things from the perspective of being able to weigh what the data has. So Guabzilla over here, I don't know who this is, but they went ahead and based on Digital Foundry's, God of War Ragnarok analysis on the PS5, where they said, it's actually clocking 120 FPS at 1440p and all of this stuff. He goes in and says, officially, a $400 PlayStation 5 offers the definitive high-end PC experience at a fraction of the cost, making it king amongst consoles when it comes to promised next-gen features. Ray tracing, 120 FPS and 1440p effortlessly locked at targeted FPS and resolutions. Now, this is strange because it says the definitive high-end PC experience, but then says making it king amongst consoles when it comes to promised next-gen features. Now, you can see the mixture of the word salad because this is a whole bunch of nonsense. So let's break it down carefully. The definitive high-end PC experience for this game has to be weighed when we have a version of this game on a PC. That's just how the data has to fall. There's no way other than reading the data that way. So this statement is not going to even be capable of being tested for probably another year. So, Guabzilla, kindly, with all due respect, don't misinform people. And like I said, with all due respect, shut up. That's the first thing we can say. The second thing is the making it king among consoles when it comes to promised next-gen features is also a statement that cannot be tested because more than likely, and I don't know if maybe this is definitive, but God of War Ragnarok is not going to show up on the Xbox Series X. So how are we to basically go ahead and tackle this? You see, this is the problem that we have when people are talking about gaming today. So we're going to apply common sense, we're going to apply reason, and we're going to go with what the truth actually has. So how about when God of War had appeared on PC, where we could have a PS5 version, where we could have a PC version, with current hardware at the time that they were able to do the testing? What did the results yield? This is a very good question to ask, because at this point, you can find another game made in the same engine, made in the same similar circumstances, different art style. A lot of things would have been different. Both games are differently, they're sized differently. But, there are threads that you will find are similar. What was the result? What did we see then? Well, the results were clear. We got to see that Digital Foundry actually did this video a while ago, and they drew some conclusions as to what they thought the PC experience for God of War actually did provide, right? So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go ahead and listen to their conclusions at the time that they could actually weigh the data properly, having all of the factors in place. This should give us what I think is a very good, representation of what the God of War game played like, and possibly give us room to make hypotheses pending when the new God of War game will show up on PC. So one of the first things they talk about was better image quality. And I've actually tagged this video 4 months ago because this same argument came up a while ago, but for the most part, a lot of people kind of ignored it. But I went ahead and said, for the receipt's sake, this argument might crop its head up again. So at that point in time, it will make sense for us to be able to go back and look at what's going on. So let me pull it up here for us so that we can hear what Alex, of Digital Foundry actually concluded. Okay. So are you guys ready? Let's go. There, I got an ad. Okay, that stupid ad is out of my face. So let's check the conclusions that they made here.
Viking escalator. So that is it in the end. God of War on PC is in general a spectacular version of the game, offering meaningful graphical options that scale wonderfully above the PlayStation version of this game. Performance on the GPU is generally very, very good, but CPU performance is a bit rough at times when loading new areas. That is something I would really love to see improved in patches, but that is enough for me for now. If you did...
So, based on his conclusions, the God of War 2018 version that was on PC was a spectacular version, improved over the backward compatible version that you have on the PS5. Simple. The frame rates, the data, and all of the above, you can come to this video and you can watch it, and you'll see what the difference in terms of performance is. So if this PS5 can offer the definitive experience, well, where the definitive PC experience, according to this nonsense post, well, where's the PC version that we can actually test that against? We don't have one yet. So when we go back and look, we're already going to see that if things are actually done properly, if things are optimized, then the definitive PC experience might scale more than the PS5. We don't know. I'm not going to say it wouldn't, but we don't know. And so when I talk about, a lot of what I think is a misunderstanding between people who may be on console compared to, seeing and visualizing how PC is, you have to kind of come into perspective to say, it appears that what is going on is because there are a lot of people that spread these anecdotes of misinformation all over the place that doesn't give room for sensible conversation at the end of the day. Let's even go ahead and, let's check out what I think is another very interesting aspect. In the last few days, in my last few videos, I've been talking about how if you actually want to get a good PC, you can go ahead and buy one and build one, for about $500 that will match, or in some cases, depending on the game you're playing, it will exceed what the, PS5 is able to bring to the table. About $600 is the price point that I put. I would usually put $500, but usually sales will change and prices will change. So that $500 mark will scale over $500. And when I said this, somebody said I was being a grifter. So what I just had to do was at the back of this video, I will tag in what I call, some helpful material, because I don't want it to be like you're saying something and you don't know what you're saying. So this build here on PC Part Picker is a $516 build. It's an entry-level gaming build that can play basically every FPS game that you want to throw at it. That's usually entry-level. It can run, Counter-Strike at 100 plus FPS, and, Call of Duty and all these other games, they're going to do well. Now, when it comes to the much more 3D intensive games, these devices are supposed to be able to at least lock you at 60 FPS at 1080p. That's usually the entry level, and I say at least, that's like the base bare minimum, like everything is nasty, 60 FPS. Usually they will run you way more at 1080p, but this is like the base of the base of the base level. So this build uses an Intel i3 1300F, which is actually priced right now on average at $124, and uses the Intel platform at the point, the B760, which is $100. So this combination by itself is a very crucial point. And if you're building a build around $600, you're not going to be looking for a 5800X 3D. That is a $300 CPU. However, these CPUs, they will crank out way more performance than the PS5. They will crank out way more performance than the Series X. In fact, if you really wanted to go the AMD side, like I showed you guys yesterday, you can go for the Ryzen 5 5500, which is also a 6-core, CPU that is under $100 right now. It is $99. Newegg is selling it. It's not used. It's brand new. You can get the 5600 if you wanted, which is about $40 more, but that will then scale your budget. So we're looking at your budget. We're looking at what you're capable of buying for $600, and we're going with that category. Your 16 gigs of RAM at this point, you're getting DDR4, 3200 CL16, very good RAM. You're getting your 1 terabyte SSD for $49. And then the other elephant in the room is your graphics card. So I would actually say go for the AMD chip and then add a little bit more money to be able to get yourself this graphics card. You can get your case. Your case can scale for whatever you want to put there. So usually cases will go in and out of supply. That's one of the things about cases. They're not necessarily things that are hard, fast. You can do whatever you want with the case, and then you can get your power supply, 600 watt power supply that's going to run you good. So the big argument here that I think has already been taken care of is the CPU and the GPU. The second big argument will be the GPU, and the 6600 arguably is not a GPU that will do everything that the PS5 will do for the most part in regard to those 3D intensive games. However, you can lean on your CPU to be able to help you push through when it comes to performance, and you can sit under $600. In fact, if we really wanted to optimize and say, okay, you've owned your PS5 for say 2 years, right? And in those 2 years, you've paid for PlayStation Plus for an extra $100, and your gaming on average is actually much more expensive than everybody else's gaming. So let's just give the PC player an extra $150 or say an extra $200. At that point, you start to see where the math makes sense. Now, the reason I say your gaming is more on average expensive than the PC player is simply because if you look at, say, places like Epic Games, you look at, say, all the incentives that are actually put out there, you'll realize that we have the capability of actually getting a lot of really good free games, and you can actually build your library by doing nothing other than just chilling and waiting. This is my Epic Games library, and I don't want to hear about your thoughts on how you think Epic Games library is good. The games are free. Shut up and take the games. Epic Games does more for developers in video games than many other platforms would ever dream or dare to do. I know many people talk about it from the gaming side, but you got to go to the dev side and look at it. And in this particular platform here, I think I bought only 4 games of the dozens of games that I own, and that's just here. On Steam, the games will go on sale for $2, $3. Sometimes you can get them for on CD keys, brand new games that come out on console for brand new. You can get them at discounted prices very easily. If you go to a website like CD Keys, you're going to be surprised what you see because the price points of these games actually adhere to regional pricing. And so your brand new title that you're going to be paying $70, $80 for, $100 for when it comes to the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition or the standard edition, we're paying $45 on average. So if in a year you're buying, say, 4 games at, say, even $60, let's not even say $70. Let's just go with the full price. Let's just say you're buying them at $70. And on PC, somebody else is buying it at $45. That gives them, on average, an extra $60 to $70 to spend. So that $60 to $70 is actually available for the PC gamer when they're looking at their costs. So when you go on Newegg and you say the 6600 is an 8 gig, graphics card, and is a graphics card that might not be able to get the job done, we can easily say if you factor in the fact that you will have what I think is a little bit more money on hand if you were to just make the investment right now, then it no longer becomes a problem. You now have access to an extra $200 that can now move you from here and move you into the 6700 XT. Okay? So, 6700 XT, right now, you're looking at it at about $319. Remember, you were at $200 and now you have an extra $200, and now you've basically changed your whole PC gaming. So you can build a very good PC that will surpass everything console has to offer. So we now have some of this stuff in perspective. The numbers, the way sales go, the way rebates go, all of this stuff can net you really, really good deals. And this $319, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually high because you can get different models of this same CPU, of this same GPU, under $300. You can get them for as little as $289. You can get it for as little as sometimes even $259 is the lowest I've actually seen them. So Newegg has its pricing that it does. You can go to maybe places like B&H. You can go on Amazon and you can see some really competitive deals overall. So your $600 to $700, which you will spend and you will gain in regard to, say, the cost of your devices, is something that is negligible overall, and you will still reap the benefits and be able to gain it. And at this point, you have now melted every single console that's available on the market when it comes to performance. Now let's look at the other side where I get, some pushback from the community. And that is from the area of, people saying that, well, how many people are actually going to be interested in putting together a PC? Some people don't want to even bother adding, like one of my audience members said, some people don't even want to put their SSD on their PS5. How are they going to be willing to go ahead and get a PC? That's their choice. I'm not saying they must. I'm not saying they have to. I'm just saying that's their choice. In fact, as I was making this video, remember I just showed you guys this God of War clip. One of my audience members said, you still can't get a PC, the specs of the console, for $600. I had a link, but YouTube pulled it. PC players lost so bad, they all became Xbots. This is where insults start coming into play. Mr. Jiggery Pokery 29662, you don't have to insult anybody. I'm over here showing data even as I'm making this video, and somebody's basically arguing with them saying, yes, you can. There are literally hundreds and dozens of builds. When you go in and say $600 PC build, you will see a lot of different references that use new, that use used items. You can literally go through and do your research. I've seen a lot of people saying that research is actually a lot of work. Of course it is. You're a single individual trying to build your own hardware. Of course it's going to be some work for you to go ahead and look at the research. When did we start coddling everybody that people are using the fact that they have to go look up something that will benefit their interest as a negative side to it? That's just not how life has always worked. I mean, I bet you a lot of these people are the same kind of people that will tell you, oh, you know, your tire went bad or your brakes went bad. Go ahead and, you know, change your brakes. It is easier to build a PC than it is to change your brakes in your car. This is a fact. And so I don't see how everybody makes it seem like it's some kind of a complex thing when many of us, especially the guys and the gals here, are capable of doing stuff like that. If you get what I mean, it's actually simpler. I mean, there are people around here that can change a radiator from a car. You can't tell me that building a PC is complex for you. You can change your tire. Okay, you know, that's very simple. You can change oil. Well, that's kind of also simple. However, knowing the safety measures and all of those things, the amount of brain juice you'd have to use, you could put a PC together. It's not rocket science. It really is not. And if you really wanted to maybe optimize even more, if you have a micro center close to you, you can make your way to a micro center and you will get some really stupid deals as time goes on. So the arguments will continue to resound and resonate. And this is why when I made sure I put this portion of this, conversation in this video, because I almost, by just intuitively, I mean, you already saw it in real time. That comment was not there, and at the same time, you're going to see people saying stuff like that. This is not the case. Whenever we talk about this, we have to show evidence and we have to show proof. I just went through the market and I just walked you through how you can actually optimize your budget to be able to get the job done. Yet, there's still someone who's saying that, oh, you know, you can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. There's also the side of the pre-built market. And I want to also address this in this particular video because I've seen a lot of people talk about how pre-built, you know, is something that may be convenient, but the pre-built market will rip you off. You're paying a premium for something that you can put together by yourself. Can you change brakes? You can build a PC. Can you even watch a YouTube video and envision how to do, say, a small tweak to, you know, a repair in your car? You can build a PC. Like this particular build here, they're using a GTX 1660 and they're charging you $689. I just did a run for you where you don't have to spend this much to get this very minimal performance. You can use a Ryzen 5 5500, a strikingly good GPU. You can get 1 terabyte of your SSD memory, whereas they want to sell you 500 here. It is a ripoff for the most part. But if you really say, you know, you don't want to deal with all that, you can buy pre-built. But I will never suggest that anybody buys a pre-built, especially when they don't know what it is that, you know, they're getting into at first. It's good that you spend the time building those items and buying those items individually, because if it came down to it, you can still get your money back by returning these individual pieces, which may still have warranty if something were to go bad. Or, you know what I mean? You know, you can still leverage and still say, I'm backing out of this, I don't know what I'm doing. You still have a way of going back. With the pre-builds, they're just way more complex in terms of, you know, how they'll process all that stuff. Maybe they allow for you to send stuff back, but I would not recommend it for somebody who's, you know, dabbling into PC newly if they're looking at a budget. If they have the money, they can go ahead and spend the money however they please. But anyways, I wanted to go ahead and just say, you know, this is something that I'm going to continue to harp on the more I continue to see a lot of these posts. Because I think what these people have done, God of War Ragnarok, because of the headline on PS5, is like a maxed out PC port with flawless performance. 120 FPS. The God of War 2018 game was doing over 120 FPS in y'all's video from back then. And it's good that they can optimize the game to do that. But what settings are you able to get 120 FPS? And then when we see the texture settings on PC, it'll be better to judge from there. So thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. And hopefully we can talk pretty soon. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Peace out.